So at the time of filming this video, we have yet to see today's conclusion of the FOMC meeting and what Jerome Powell has to say following that. But we're seeing a little bit more red this morning, a little bit of people getting antsy ahead of this. Hopefully we get some good sentiment to carry us higher, but every now and then I like to zoom out and look at things in totality. And June has not been a small month for SHIB by any means. In fact, it's on track to be one of the larger months here in 2025. And I really want to stress how scarce Shiba Inu supply is getting. That's where there's a huge disconnect between retail and some of these large entities that are accumulating. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. It's been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. Now, things that I really like to highlight are what whales are doing and what exchange supply is doing. And although we're dealing with a lot of chop and ups and downs in terms of price, people seem to be missing the big picture and the grand scheme of things. What Shiba Inu has been doing since the bear market cycle has in fact been gaining strength. We're hitting new all-time highs in terms of holders. We're seeing huge removals of supply from exchanges. In fact, here in 2025, what if I told you guys that whale supply has only increased? They've been buying and buying and buying. What if I told you that exchange supply has only decreased? That is what we're witnessing here in 2025. And in fact, I wanted to zoom into today, obviously June 18th. So this is just over halfway through the month. But what we have seen so far is 3.19 trillion Shiba Inu accumulated by whales during this time. So it's kind of funny because all the way back, for a very long time, people have said that whales have been a detriment to SHIB, and they've been the reason that SHIB hasn't been making these moves. It's the exact opposite. Whales have been buying and buying and buying and taking advantage of the dip and accumulating, while it's small holders that are in fact capitulating. And why this is so in fact important is whales tend to be a big driver of price. So if whales are accumulating in this big of a manner, it tends to precede large moves in price. You can look back historically at really any asset. This always precedes big moves. Now, this time has been very long. We haven't made any huge significant moves in price because the uncertainty around the space has been so big. The conditions surrounding the market have been such shit, frankly, that it hasn't been conducive for these moves to take place. But that hasn't slowed these guys down at all, right? The smallest month that we had so far this year was April, 3.44 trillion. Right now, about just a little over halfway through the month, we're about to pass that. All right. Take a look at exchange supply. That I think is one of the biggest indicators of what is going to come here next. This month so far, we have already seen 3 trillion Shiba Inu removed from exchanges. And why this is so important is going back to the height of last bull market cycle. I just accidentally did this. I want to zoom out here. If we look back at the height of the last bull market cycle, there are hundreds of trillions of SHIB less available on exchanges. Now, why that's so important is you need to ask yourself, where are new people going to be flocking to? Are they flocking to DeFi or are they flocking to exchanges? They're flocking to exchanges. Centralized exchanges are easy. It's where most people trade. It's where most of the volume is, and it's where adoption takes place. So what we're seeing and have been seeing for a very long period of time is people picking up positions in Shiba Inu, putting it in their pocket, and walking away from exchanges and preparing for better times. And this is a trend that has not changed. Just show you guys, trend still is moving down and to the right. So you're witnessing Shiba Inu continue to hit record lows in terms of exchange supply. Well, what happens when adoption changes, right? What happens when people start realizing that whales have just been accumulating, when they realize that supply is dwindling, things can go on a pretty fast run. And this isn't to say that, this needs to happen for sure. That's just how supply and demand works. The problem is that demand has just been very low for a very long period of time, because during these times we would normally see adoption, but there's too much crap going on in the space. War, tariffs, economic uncertainty, black swan events. These are all things that have been detrimental to price, not just for Shiba Inu, but across the crypto market. And eventually we'll get past all those stuff. And I know I say that a lot, and that's because it's true, right? The timelines keep changing. It's not that I'm kicking the can down the road. It's just that there's new crap that keeps hitting the market. Just on this last run alone, anybody had what things were on the board? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, the Trump Elon debacle. Anybody have that on their bingo card? Iran and Israel. I mean, we all kind of know that's been going on for quite some time, but who had that on their bingo card, right? There are just these surprises that just keep hitting the market and just keep causing this uncertainty. And frankly, it just keeps giving us opportunity. And anybody that's not looking at it as opportunity, I don't know what to tell you. That's where I think there's a huge disconnect, as well as most people, they would much rather accumulate when these runs are already running and buy at these prices where times are exploding, rather than accumulate when times look grim, right? That is when there is the most opportunity in the market. That is when there are these huge opportunities to accumulate. Frankly, you guys know this. I've talked about this a bunch. You guys can go back and check out my videos from back in 2023. This is when I was accumulating. Some of the bear market lows before things got rip roaring, when we were facing, political headwinds, when we were facing still black swan events in the market, before everything got good. That's the best way to put it. Before everything got good in the market was the time to accumulate. Things don't look very good right now, but does that mean it's time to dump our bags and cry and complain and whine? Or is it time to continue to build our bags? That's the question I'll leave you with. You can do whatever you want, but we'll see how things progress. 2025 has actually been a good year for SHIB. Not for price. I think we can all agree with that, right? But like I say many times, and have said many times before, price is always the lagging metric. It's always the last thing to move. And the good news is that these trends for a fundamental level for Shiba Inu continue to head the right direction. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.